The productivity of our society is mainly defined by our access to energy. The second part of this is labor, and how we turn energy into labor. As a society, we are the ability to harvest energy, which we're pretty good at. And I think if you ask someone from the 1800s, he said like, hey, in 2024, you can buy a kilowatt hour of energy for 10 cents. They would think you were out of your mind. Like, that's going to take 1,000,000 years, right? It's kind of like if you look at like the last thing that was written about the Wright brothers was that it would take the combined force of all mathematicians in humanity 1,000,000 years to solve this problem. That was what academia thought. And then 2 days later, the plane takes off. Point being, it's very hard for someone back in that society to imagine that energy is just almost abundantly available and free. We can still get better at this, but I think as a society, we've gotten pretty darn good at harvesting energy. What hasn't happened yet is that we've figured out how to turn that into products and services. That's still mainly done by people eating corn and then converting that into mechanical energy and making products and services. Once you can take that energy and just turn it into any product and service that we then can consume, that's the next step of society. Something that also often doesn't get mentioned enough, how much sustainability is a function of productivity.
Right.
Because if you have infinite labor, there is no reason to cut cost, no reason to cut corners. You can do everything in a sustainable manner. And I think the path to a sustainable planet does not come through saving. It comes through actually enabling you to do all of these things in a sustainable manner. If I tell you to stick your finger into that system that's rotating at 10,000 RPM, you will say, no way, right? You know what will happen to your finger. We learned this in school, right? A car that goes twice as fast is not twice as dangerous, it's 4 times as dangerous. Because actually, the energy in the system scales with the velocity or speed squared. This is why robots are dangerous. They have huge gear ratios, means they have spinning weight that spins very, very fast. And you can think about it, there's something spinning at 10,000 RPM, and when I hit the table, it needs to stop. There's no way that can just immediately stop. It needs to spin down. And that's why a robot would normally crush the table if it hit the table. So for robots, we say they collide. Right? We have a term for it in the industry. My robot collided. Humans don't collide. We just interact with the world. To me, that's like the fundamental problem in how to make robots useful outside of a factory. You have to be able to do safe interactions. It's safe with respect to just stepping on the ground. It's safe with respect to accidentally touching you. It's safe to respect the ball when I pick it up. And this is not an AI problem. This is a hardware problem. And this is why we started with the motors, because if you have very strong motors, then you don't need the gears to be strong enough. And now you can pull tendons, kind of like how human muscle work.
Right.
And you can create your motion through this. And that's why you can see when our robots move, they move very differently from all other robots. It just looks human, it looks natural. But it's not because it's going to look great. I like that it does that, but that's not why we do it. We do it because we want it to be capable and still safe, so we can integrate them into society. In a factory, you install a robot, and then 5 minutes later, you don't need more data from that robot, because you have enough data of that one task. So it's all about how can you get as many tasks as possible, as diverse an environment as possible. And that is basically integrating these androids into our society, living among us, doing tasks among us. And nothing is more diverse than a home. Every home is different. And not only is every home different, every home is different every day. It's counterintuitive, because that's the highest complexity you could try to tackle. But that entropy or complexity is actually where intelligence comes from. So if you want to get your systems to actually be intelligent enough to solve real problems, you have to start in a home. And then as you get to machine intelligence, you can deploy this broadly across all sectors with respect to general labor.
Early on, you did a lot of work with elderly people and helping elderly people. What was that experience like? What was it about doing that that was part of your motivation to create this company?
When you have a job like I had then, was just side gig to college, and you're supposed to go help someone clean their home because they're not able to do it themselves. And for most of the people I come to, they've already done it. And it's like a struggle for them, right? There's a reason you're supposed to help them do it. But they've done it just so you can sit down and have a cup of coffee and talk to them. And I think this is like a gross misuse of human resources, right? Humans should be used for what we want to use humans for, which is human connection. And we should free ourselves from basically menial labor. And I think there are 2 paths to this. One is we want to free up time so we can actually give people dignity as they age. But the other one, which I think is equally important, is we want to enable, all the way out to some kind of artificial life, companionship through AI. And this companionship needs to be embodied. It needs to help you do physical tasks. It needs to be part of your life to help you leverage this increased work output to make your life better. And I think that can really, really change how we as a society see independence as we age. And this is increasingly going to be important as a large part of our demography ages, right? But I do think it's not just about saving labor. I think it's actually a lot about providing independence and companionship, right? You want to go out and see your friend. Now you can like get dressed when you want. You can get help to do that. You want to get out of bed when you want to, not when someone comes over to help you. You want to get food when you're hungry, right? And being able to do this in an independent manner is also really, really important to both your physical and mental health.